Now, the Public Works and Infrastructure Deputy Minister, Bernice Swarts, has issued a warning to contractors over shoddy workmanship when patching potholes. Well, Swarts was visiting the Makwasi Hills. This is in the Dr. Kenneth Kaunda District Municipality, which is one of, or as part of the district development model. Now, she's raised a number of concerns about contractors and their handling of road maintenance programs, especially pothole patching and the compliance standards. Let's get an understanding now of what the Deputy Minister saw when she visited the area. Deputy Minister, good morning to you, and thank you very much for your time. As we say in that introduction, you've issued a very stern warning to construction companies over poor workmanship. What prompted this?
Good morning, Colin, and good morning to your viewers. I had visited the district for an imbizo because I've been appointed by the President as the champion for the Dr. Kenneth Kaunda District Municipality. So through the DDM team, which comprises of the Executive Mayor of Dr. KK and the surrounding local municipalities, I said, let us go with the mayors and the officials to go and see a few of their projects that they are doing as the district. And one of them became a road where they are using the EPWP method to patch potholes. But however, I raised an issue because of the potholes that are there, looking at the standards of the roads. So number one, the issue became that the roads itself has not been done according to standards. So the layers of asphalt that were used and the method of constructing the road was not done in a proper manner. So you are always going to have pothole patching. I also raised the standard because they are using cold asphalt, which you then cannot seal off the pothole, instead of using hot asphalt, which allows you to seal off the pothole. So I raised an issue that we are patching this pothole. When we come back in 2 weeks, there'll be no pothole, and you'll be again appointing a service provider to do the same pothole you did 2 weeks ago. I also raised an issue that when roads are being constructed, we do need to have sidewalks. We also need stormwater drainage, because without stormwater drainage and sidewalks, the durability and the lifespan of that road will also not be assisting us, because in the next 2 years, you'll be wanting to do the same road again instead of doing proper planning and having professionals that actually plan the roads.
So, Deputy Minister, I'm happy with what you've listed as problems that you've encountered. Let me ask you, based on perhaps the interactions you have had with these construction companies, do you get a sense that these are people who know what they are doing, but they are simply not doing what they are supposed to be doing, and by so doing, therefore, this has become a money-making racket? Or is it purely on the basis of people just not being skilled enough to sort out the problem?
Golly, we cannot, it has to be both ways, because for me it comes to proper planning between the contractors and the municipalities through their professional teams and the project managers. So for me, what I'm saying is that the municipalities should start working in a manner where you are not just implementing the IDP and doing projects just for the sake of fulfilling a scorecard. And because that leads to people doing rush work. Now, for me, it becomes a bigger part of we must plan properly and not just say that if you are going to plan a road for 9 months and you see that you are not going to do it in time, it's better to rather put in a submission to say, can we have extra time, instead of doing a rush just to fulfill the time period that has been set for that road. Because that then becomes part of people doing work under pressure. Now, when you do anything under pressure, you are bound to do a lot of mistakes, and you will end up with a product that was not intended in the initial planning stages. Now, for me, I am saying that I don't think that at any stage they do appoint a contractor, because the contractors are appointed according to the CITB levels. Now, I don't think there's anybody that will appoint a contractor bypassing the CITB compliance, which gives you the amount of money set amongst a project, that for 30 million project you need a grade 7, you need that grade, so that I think that it's more about people panicking when they see that they are not going to complete work in time. So for me, it's about fixing the standards in terms of, if you are not going to finish the work in time, you rather ask for an extension rather than do work. But also that in each and every environment there should be a feasibility study, because I don't believe that you can construct the same roads the same way in any area, because of course in a place that is semi-rural and rural, you are going to have a lot of rocks. You are going to have a lot of factors. And I think that it is time that in the construction industry, everybody adheres to the climate change and environment and its impacts in the construction industry.
So, Deputy Minister,
all of us,
Deputy Minister, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but time is against us. You've touched on a number of issues. But when you talk about fixing the standards, what are you suggesting is the solution to the problem then?
I think that through the district development model, using the IDP and the one plan is where all spheres of government work together, which is local government, provincial government, and national government. For me, the planning must work together so that we are not too disjointed, so that the district is able to speak to province when it has a problem that province should assist it with. The district is able to speak to national, and that is where we fit in as the champions being appointed in the district, so that when the district needs to speak to a certain minister, I am able to assist them so that it is done in a quicker pace, in a quicker manner, so that we talk to each other. Now, also when we speak about standards, we also must adhere to the Council of the Built Environment, so that we don't appoint quantity surveyors and engineers that are not registered with anybody that is a council that oversees. We have professionals. Yes.
So planning is one thing, Deputy Minister Swarts, but people deliberately doing wrong things because, as you said earlier, they are in a rush to complete the project. That suggests to me that there is ill intention on the part of that company. And so here's where I'm going to differ with you about how to fix the problem. And the problem lies with blacklisting companies that are wasting taxpayers' monies by doing a rushed job that is going to fix a pothole today, and that pothole is opened yet again in a few weeks' time, because that same company must then be brought back to fix that pothole, wasting yet more money. So, how many companies have you as a department blacklisted over the years for exactly what I've just described?
Well, as a department, if you are talking about public works, at public works, yes, we have blacklisted companies with Treasury. Now, Treasury is the one who blacklists companies, so it's actually on the website at Treasury. If you go into Treasury, you'll be able to see how many companies have been blacklisted. But I also want to say to you, Dolly, that I think that as much as even if we blacklist companies, even those companies that are still there that are going to work, for me, it's about us bringing a different way of doing monitoring on site, which means that we have to capacitate the district municipalities so that we don't wait for the road to be finished for us to see that there are actually problems. Now we are going to be implementing monitoring through the districts, so that through their technical teams, a component of their technical teams actually has monitoring of what is happening in the projects. So that it is not only the project manager because the project manager must actually look at how the contractor is doing work and implementing, but we need a different team within the team when projects are being implemented, so that the monitoring team can say, look, what you are doing here is not up to standard. Because for me, I'm just worried about the methods and the standards that we're using now, because blacklisting, you'd be able to get on the website of Treasury the number of contractors that have been blacklisted for a number of reasons.
Yeah. Well, whilst we still on the question of companies, construction companies, and particularly those that need to be blacklisted, another issue that has been a perennial problem for your Department of Public Works is that of the so-called construction mafia. Now, your minister has been on record as suggesting that a number of individuals have been arrested. How many people have been arrested who are found to have been involved in the so-called construction mafia, the hijackers of government projects?
Well, Dolly, I would not have the number offhand in terms of how many people have been arrested in the who have disrupted projects, who are then deemed and called construction mafias. But for me, I would just like to say that in any project, what becomes a challenge where you have construction mafias is that the social part of projects should be the one that becomes key, because before starting any project, you need to do the socialization part where you bring the community on board that we are going to implement a project. Because for me, what I've seen is that these construction mafias derives because they want to come onto the project, and 99.0% of the time, Tony, these people are people who do not even know anything about construction. It is people who have never ever registered a construction company, but who just want to come and disrupt projects. That is why you then have a name of them being called construction mafia contractors, because for me it is a small percentage of people who would want to come and fight to get the 30% on the project, because most of the time they don't comply with what is needed. Because if you look at the projects themselves, it is huge projects. We are talking about high courts, which has a huge budget. You are talking about correctional services project. You are talking about a police station, which is a SEPS project.
Exactly.
So most of the time, these people are people who don't even comply.
All right.
So for me, it's a matter of us changing also the way of how we introduce projects in the community, which means that we have to tighten up on how we socialize projects when we get.
Let me quickly chip in, Deputy Minister. Time is against me. In fact, I've run out of time. But the reason I asked you that question is that the Democratic Alliance is quite clear that your minister has basically told a lie when he said 200 individuals were arrested as a direct result of the so-called construction mafia. Do you agree with the Democratic Alliance, or do you dispute what they are saying? Very quickly.
No, I don't agree with them, colleague, because like I'm saying, remember that when we are talking about this, the minister and myself has just come into office. We are appointed in March. So I am saying that we will need to look at from 2019 to date who has been blacklisted or who has been arrested, because when we also talk of arrest, we must be able to dissect what we are actually saying. So I don't want to agree with the Democratic Alliance, but I would request that if there's another opportunity, we can come back and talk about this. The minister can come back and talk about it.
I think we need to do exactly that.
We are able to respond to the Democratic Alliance.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister at the Public Works Department, Bernice Swarts. I agree with her wholeheartedly that they need to come back and explain to us, and in fact, this will be an opportunity or an invitation I'm going to issue right away. Either you, Deputy Minister, or indeed the Minister himself. Please join us in studio next time and bring that list of those that have been blacklisted.